Chris Cuomo drops into dead silence as Maxine Waters blathers on and on about her race baiting and then has some surprising comments to offer after that. Guys, this video is going to be a lot of fun, all right? I know you're going to like it. Maxine Waters, as I'm sure you know, is a far left whack job. She very much does not like white people. She has extreme views. She very famously or infamously, depending on how you want to define it, called for people to essentially almost be violent towards elected representatives they don't like in the context of the Trump administration. And she's all around just not a pleasant person. All right, let's not forget she was completely in favor of the Rodney King race riots that happened way back in the day. And of course, surprise, surprise, had similar thoughts about the Black Lives Matter riots of the summer of 2020. And she's unhinged. So everybody, we're gonna get right into it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But first, do me a big favor and like and share our videos so we can keep bringing you guys this great hard-hitting content. Let's go.
What is the lesson that your party should have learned?
Well, the Democratic Party worked very hard, and they raised, substantial sum of money. We had great candidates, and so Trump had a following, basically generally led by whites. White males voted in big numbers. He had a few from the other race groups.
Look at Chris Cuomo's face. You can just tell he's half a second away from face bombing himself. Just going, dude, get me the hell out of here. What am I even doing talking to this lady? Why am I a Democrat? Why am I a leftist? Why do I associate with such things? Dude is not happy.
That joined in, like the Latinos at 45%, and black men at about the same rate that they did when they voted for him before, at about 20%. That combination won. And so it is not that Democrats did not work hard, did not do a great job. We had an unusual situation where we had a black woman, which this country has never seen before. A combination of all of those things led to his win.
I will not push back on the idea that race and sex matter in American politics. I think they do. I don't know that it was the controlling variable, and you don't suggest otherwise. To me, it seemed to be that the Democrats thought Trump stinks is enough. And Senator Bernie Sanders said something that reminded me of you, which is why I wanted you on the show tonight, Maxine, which is Democratic Party used to be, we are all about doing for working people. That's what we do. That's what Mario Cuomo's party, that's what Maxine Waters' party was. You are now seen as not that, even by Bernie Sanders.
You can tell that Cuomo totally thinks that Maxine Waters is making a stupid point, at best. Maybe he's thinking something worse. I don't know, and I won't speculate. But you notice he even tiptoes around the language. He says, well, I will not contest it, but it wasn't the controlling factor, and I think you think so too. He doesn't want to offend the left, but he also wants to play this middle ground thing. It's kind of funny, kind of cringy, but pretty entertaining and funny too. And in just a moment here, I'm going to show you proof that Cuomo thinks what Maxine Waters is saying is totally stupid, doesn't buy into it at all. Check this out. So guys, this is a clip on Alan Lichtman. If you don't know who he is, he's famous for the 13 keys to the White House, in which he predicts who will be president based on 13 different yes or no, true, false facts. He very famously has gotten almost all of them right, except for 2000 with Al Gore and Bush, and now in 2024. And he is pissed. You'll see what I mean right here.
The other thing that's unique about this election is the explosion of elements that have always been present, the dark side of American history, but that have been agitated to an unprecedented degree in this election. And I'm talking about racism, misogyny, xenophobia, anti-Semitism, with a woman of color being a particular target. And these things cross ethnic and racial lines. The first xenophobic law in America goes all the way back to 1798. The Alien and Sedition Acts. And guess who the enemy was then? The French, who were ethnically and racially indistinguishable from the settlers in England. Then it's the Jews, the Germans, the Irish, the Mexicans, the Muslims. There's always an other. And, I can give you example after example of how these issues
No, but look, we get it. I get the concepts. I just want to test the application with the context of what we saw happen in the election. So I stipulate, of course, and I know it makes some people uncomfortable, but race and gender matter in America in choosing leaders.
They always have.
It could be It can be positive. It can be negative. I think sometimes it's a percentage of both, but it's real. I don't dispute that.
Notice right there, Cuomo said it can be negative, but it can also be positive, right? And that's a point I think he was a little too scared to make to Maxine Waters because he knew what would come for him if he did. At the end of the day, Kamala Harris's skin color and her gender, if anything, it helped her. And I think you have to be an idiot not to see that. There are so many women who came out and said just because she's a woman, the first woman president, or will be rather, not anymore, that they're going to vote for her. It's not because she's intelligent. She's not. It's not because she's hardworking. She's not. It's not based on her policies. They aren't any good. It's only because of an immutable characteristic. Ironically, those people who complain so much about racism and sexism are practicing that very thing themselves. As far as what Lichtman said about Trump being, getting elected because of anti-Semitism, really? Trump's probably the most pro-Jewish, pro-Israel president maybe ever, if not in my lifetime. Let's not forget he moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. You know how many US presidents promised they were going to do that and failed to deliver on it? That was actually one of the arguably few promises that was big promise that Trump actually kept, or managed to keep rather, while he was in office from 2016 to 2020. So I don't really get where this whole, orange mustache man in Germany kind of thing with Trump comes from. It just doesn't make any sense, all right? It really just doesn't. But don't take my word for it. Let's see what Jewish people are saying about it. Is Exhibit A, Israeli Halet Haaretz. Here's an article they recently published. Only Netanyahu could have chosen a cushier Trump foreign policy team. So if you don't believe me that Trump is not anti-Semitic, just ask the, Semites. I think they'll have a pretty good answer for you.
There's no reason to be ignorant. However, when you look at this, it leads to a suggestion, Professor, that all the white people came out to vote for Trump and not the black woman. We don't really see that
as I explained,
in the
it's
demos.
not limited to white people. That's
right, because black voters didn't come out. The Democrats lost because they underperformed, Alan. The Democrats lost because they underperformed. They misread the main motivators for the voters, and they underperformed. Black women pulled a heavy load for the Democrats again, but they couldn't overcome black men, Latino women, married women, even though reproductive rights matters. It wasn't everything for them. And you saw it in a lot of demos. So can it just be as simple as we're racist?
I think it's safe to say that Lichtman is very upset and quite salty that his election predictions did not actually hold up. And you know what, folks? You love to see it. You love to see it. You love to see a triggered lip. An important final point here. Most of Chris Cuomo's points were all well and fine and dandy, but I hate that term he used right there. Reproductive rights. And don't ever let a leftist get away with saying such a stupid Orwellian word, or phrase rather. You know what that means? Abortion. That means ending the life of a baby. Reproductive rights. What do you mean reproductive rights? You're ending reproduction, right? It's the opposite of what it is. It's a lot like when they say gender affirming care to talk about child sex changes. No, it's actually the opposite of what you're pretending it is. And let's just skip the ooey gooey lovey-dovey language because I'm not buying it. And it seems like a lot of the American people aren't, given that they just elected Trump. And thank God for that. With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. As always, make sure to subscribe right there, guys. Hit that subscribe button if you like the video. Please do it. Really appreciate it. And God bless.